In Sudan, the death toll from heavy rains hitting 10 states so far has reached 138. The country's Ministry of Health says more than 31,000 families, comprising over 129,000 people, were affected. On Saturday, heavy rain flooded the Arbat area, north of the Red Sea city of Port Sudan, causing the Arbat Dam to collapse and washing away entire villages. Hundreds of residents fled to mountain peaks to avoid the danger of the floods, while others remained trapped in villages. A number of UN organizations are on ground to monitor the situation and determine the needs, as well as a number of people in need of food aid from the residents of the destroyed villages.
Good afternoon. Just to update on the Secretary General's travels. He is in Tonga, where this morning he took part in the opening of the 53rd Pacific Islands Forum. He praised Pacific Island leaders for their collective commitments to environmental stewardship and regional peace, and called the region for a beacon of solidarity and strength.
And staying in Sudan, where the armed conflict in the North African country has killed more than 15,000 people and displaced over 12 million others and counting. The crisis, which began in April 2023, has seen over 68 villages burnt down in the Darfur region, with reports of ethnic cleansing. Chronic food insecurity, a collapsed health system, and the major measles outbreak has set Sudan over the humanitarian edge, while the focus of the global powers has shifted elsewhere, especially to the Israel, Hamas, and Russia-Ukraine wars. Advocates are now calling for a global attention to the devastating humanitarian crisis in Sudan. But David Awarawo is a professor of international relations and strategic studies. He joins me now from Lagos for more on this. Good to have you join us on World Now, Prof. Well, more than 15,000 people are dead already, 12 million plus displaced, and there is a risk of devastating famine in Sudan. How did the world forget Sudan?
Thank you for having me. The crisis started long ago, and it arose from the attitude of the previous governments and the approach to governance, the inability to see all parts of Sudan as one country, one people, an inability to promote nation building so that the Arabs or non-Arabs as non-Sudanese. That is the genesis of the whole thing. The current conflict between the Sudanese military, the government, versus the Rapid Support Forces. The Rapid Support Forces was formed, under Omar el-Bashir as a paramilitary group which was fighting in Darfur. Government was supporting it, fighting against non-Arabs. And now they have turned against each other. Now the military group has now turned against the Sudanese government, and that is the genesis of the current crisis. It arose from inability of the government to be broad-minded and to focus on the common good of all Sudanese, and to be Manichaean, saying Sudanese as us and them. Those are not the kind of people you have as leaders. When you have a tragedy of having characters like that as leaders, these are the kind of things that you have as results.
Well, Prof, there is a humanitarian emergency in Sudan. How do we shift focus back there? And beyond this humanitarian aid, how do we ensure that fighters in the Sudan sheathe their swords and peace is restored there? Prof,